Farm for Profit Podcast. Take a listen, have a blast. Farm for Profit Podcast. Learn about farming while having a laugh. Farm for Profit Podcast.
We love new technology. We've got John here, co-founder and CEO of LeafTech. We are going to discuss on-demand tissue analysis, Corey, and we walked by, you saw this, and you went, oh, is that like the soil probe?
I was like, that's going to go with our soil probe.
Yes. So we're excited to learn more about LeafTech. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Let's start with you, John. Who are you, and what's your story?
My name is John Masco, and I'm co-founder and CEO of LeafTech Ag, located in East Central Indiana. We founded the company. We are a generational farming family. My son and my daughter and my wife and I founded this company about 3 years ago. I've been in precision ag technology since '96. And so I've been seeing the evolution of in-field sensing and remote sensing and how to bring that together in the farming applications. And so we've been building this up. And one of the main issues that we have is that not being able to be responsive to what the plants need when they need it. And so we figured out a way to measure in near real time the nutrient content of a plant and then being able to address what it needs.
How long have you been doing this?
This will be in our third year.
And what did you do before that?
That's what I was doing, precision ag technology, working with remote sense data and in-field data. I do a lot of disease, pest, nutrient modeling from in-field data.
Where do you learn all that? Did you go to college for that, or just
No, I've actually I've got degrees in agronomy and animal nutrition.
Okay.
And then also our family farming background, all of that came through. And we're doing things that people said can't be done. So there's no book written on it right now.
Okay. So did you go to Purdue for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a big sigh.
Okay.
Cal College.
It's all right. We like ag colleges.
Yep.
I like
except
it.
for Nebraska.
Okay, so Dave.
Except for Nebraska.
Dave, I've got this device sitting in front of me, but I want you to describe it. I want to hear Dave's words as to what this looks like.
It's like a pancake machine with a single handle that has a DeWalt battery on the back with like a viewing screen like the old little click slideshows when you were kids, but yet it's not that. It has your cell phone mount like it's for running a drone. So if you can picture that, black box, about a foot long, with a cell phone holder, battery, and we get to compress the plant in the middle, and somehow, magically, we get all the nutrients out of it.
That's about it. A hair straightener is another one. Hair curler, hair straightener.
That would have been a
Is
good
what it is, yeah.
It's a leaf straightener.
Dave's-
Take it
Yeah,
out there.
it is.
and
This is
steam
leaf-
your leaves.
Yeah, you can steam your leaves and get all the data out of it.
hair straightener would
That's
be
exactly
good.
what,
Yep.
just like the one Dave uses.
Probably have to have a lot of batteries for that.
Yeah.
That's
All
cool.
right, so
How
talk-
heavy is it?
Oh, I would say that felt like 10 pounds?
No.
8 pounds?
You're probably around 6 to 8, 6 to 7, 6.5 to 7 pounds.
All right.
Depends on how many attachments you get, like scope on it, or
Yeah. Yeah.
You put Dave's brick of a phone on it.
that's true. He's got his whole wallet with all the money in it.
Darn right. Wow.
Yeah, we've got it balanced out so the battery's on one side and the scan bed is on the other. And we have a scan bed that allows us to do multiple leaves. So we can do corn, cotton, and soybeans. Right now we're adding alfalfa and wheat in addition to peanuts and other crops across the country.
So we can maybe you can share on the inside. We have a light somewhere that is shining through. I'm guessing in a receiver of some sort. Is it LiDAR? What's the tech?
Basically, it's a multispectral camera or a sensor. We're gathering 40 plus bands of light
Okay.
or spectra, and we are measuring all 40 bands. So we've got the full range of it, and then we're collecting about 2,076,000 pixels, and each pixel has the 40 plus layers plus all the metadata associated with each pixel. So we've calculated we've got about 89 million data points that we're collecting
Per scan.
per scan. And that resolution allows us to look at nutrients. We are also seeing that we can do this for disease, pest, and other characteristics that we're looking for within a plant.
So based on processor speed back in the 90s, that's going to take 5 weeks.
At least, yeah.
So
yeah.
now with today's technology where our processors are, like look at our phones, okay, a little bit faster, this is still going to take An hour? How long?
No, what it does, it captures the base file, and then we send it up to the cloud.
Okay.
And then we spool it up from there on processing. And it takes about 3 to 5 minutes to get all the data processed. The slow part actually is the communications on the cell phones.
Okay.
I was going to
Because
say.
it takes a little bit to get up, and it changes from place to place, but we can process directly in about a minute, but we figure about 3 to 5 to get it up to the cloud, process, and then back down to we use Power BI as the display.
So
You need Starlink, like built
you
in.
kind of need cell phone service.
To move the data up, but you can do store and forward.
Okay.
So you can go out in the field, even though you're not connected to the server, and you can see if you are. You can go and scan as much as you need, and then when you get to cell service, you connect up to the server and let it upload and work with it from there.
Is there any kind of like calibration process between hybrids or geographies, even plants? You said you got to go to cotton and all
Right.
that kind of stuff. Like,
No, there is a little bit of validation work we do between species, but we are measuring the spectral signature of each nutrient, so that gives us a consistency. We're not trying to interpret chlorophyll content to give us nitrogen percentage. We are measuring true nitrogen,
okay.
and we're measuring all the true values that are generated from each nutrient as it comes through.
Say that again.
Go ahead.
I that was just the coolest word ever. Spectoral what?
Signature.
Yeah, he's got a lot of cool words. Can you
Spectoral
measure?
What's your spectoral signature, Corey?
Probably wouldn't be good, especially after last night. But,
Mercy.
so I'm an agronomy minor, and so I measure things in NPK and micros. Right? It's pretty straightforward. And you said this can do more. Like, are you looking at like bricks and things of that nature?
Yeah, we're looking at bricks. We're looking at ADF, NDF, nutritional values, and these types of things, because the science and the process is in like a normal lab or generally spectoral in their evaluation of it, and we can replicate that with what we're doing.
So, Corey, for all of us dumb people out there, what's bricks?
It's a measure of the sugar in the
Sugar
sugar
content.
content in the plant. So you
Okay.
want your bricks higher in a plant, and a lot of people would argue that most of the time it's too low. And if your bricks are higher, insects can't digest sugar, and then they'll leave your plants alone.
When I eat more sugar, I get fatter. Does that work with corn plants too?
Well, they make sugar and have it in their plants.
Got it.
But bugs can't eat sugar because they don't have the same gut as
I
humans,
gotcha.
Right? So they die if they do.
All right, not to digress, but so you're measuring that as well.
Well, we're in the process of including that. We started out with just looking at the micro and macronutrients, and we measured 12 of them plus leaf water content. That leaf water content tells us how stressed or water stressed that plant is, so that we can see how the concentration of the nutrients get more the more water stressed it is, because it's not diluted as much.
Right, that's probably a big part of the factor, because probably your lights change colors or whatever they're measuring different, whether it's full of water or not.
Yeah, the intensity of it goes through. And then the other thing we're able to start looking at is that we're looking at every leaf on that plant. And there's variation between the lower leaves and the upper leaves, and how the plant moves the nutrients through that process when it's putting on grain or whether it's growing vegetatively. And we're starting to question, this has caused me to question everything I've learned in agronomy the last 25 plus years.
Oh boy.
Because
So-
it doesn't make sense, because it's like, who decided which leaf to sample?
So the normal process of I would call it a normal tissue sample is if the plant's under a certain size, you go take the whole plant.
Well, yeah, if
And
it's
then
short, yeah.
if it's like say tasseled or got an ear on it, you're taking the ear leaf.
The ear leaf and or the first collared leaf,
Okay.
the full collared leaf of it.
So what's the advantage of what you've created over what's traditionally been done?
What we're able to do is we can select an individual plant, georeference that plant, and scan it in less than 15 seconds. Then you can go and scan another one. So we can gather hundreds of data points in a field that allows us to determine the nutrient uptake or the bioavailability of nutrients in the field. The soil may say we have a lot of nutrition there, but if it's not getting up to the plant, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
And so that's what we're able to do, is we're able to give the results in 3 to 5 minutes versus 3 to 5 days of taking it to a laboratory, sending it off, waiting for the results.
Yeah.
And you generally are sending off a composite sample. You're collecting 15 to 20 leaves from an area.
So not Geospatial.
And it's like, okay, we got an area, and it's kind of like marketing. It's like selling and then finding out what your price was 3 to 5 days later, what you sold it for.
So I'm a farmer. Okay, I go out, I do this. Great, my soil's great, but my plants suck. Mm-hmm. So do you give prescriptions? Are you telling me like how to fix it, or are you just saying your plants suck?
We just say this is what your levels are,
Okay.
and then you can either.
It's probably not on a suck to not suck scale, Dave. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. We could put that scale on there, but generally we do let the people locally do the recommendations based upon the local conditions, because the sufficiency insufficiency levels of a nutrient are kind of determined locally by whether it's a tissue sampling company or an agronomist or whatever, and then we can export our digital tissue sample directly into a crop management software where you can do nutrient zones and target what's going on in there. And then you can prescribe and apply directly to that area. And by being able to target apply the right nutrients at the right location at the right time, we have better use of inputs, and we have better use of the outcomes from the giving the right nutrients to that plant to meet its potential.
So I want to go back to the process.
Sure.
You said you collect 15, a normal tissue, you collect 15 out of a area in a field. What are you doing? Are you doing a composite?
No, we're doing individual plants.
Right.
And you get the individual report for each plant non-destructively.
Can you lump them together? Like, I mean, one plant sometimes might not
Right.
tell the whole story, right?
Right.
So then you kind of want to look at it
Right.
in a wide view.
The thing is, if you're going to take all of them together and average them,
Yep.
that's what you're going to get the average. And what we don't, if you want to continue to do that, I kind of say just stay with your current program.
Yeah.
Because you're not taking advantage of it. What we're saying is take hundreds of points in that field.
Okay.
In the same time it takes you to get that 15. And then if you map those data points, you can pinpoint where you need to put a foliar treatment or
So what's the process? Are you scanning one plant multiple times, or where would you suggest the scan?
way we're doing it right now, it's almost like a modified grid. So if you have an applicator that's 90 foot wide, hit the middles of it and just scan as many plants as you can in a grid pattern right now.
But you only scan one plant one time on one leaf?
On one leaf, then you go to the next one, and you can scan multiple leaves every 15 seconds.
Which leaf do you suggest on the plant?
Right now, we're saying go with the current protocols.
Okay.
Ear leaf, first collared leaf. We are discovering that we want to make sure we have enough information to challenge that idea.
Because it might make a difference, right? Because sometimes the new growth might have something nutrient difference than something of old growth, correct?
Correct.
Or in
but
theory.
In theory, and because we've scanned the plants here locally, and each leaf is different. We have a leaf that is senesced that has a higher nitrogen content. A dead leaf on the bottom, very first leaf, has higher nitrogen content than the upper leaves.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
two questions. One, you said non-destructive.
Correct.
Does it really matter if we kill one plant? I mean, in the scheme of like the whole.
Or even if you took one leaf, it wouldn't kill it.
Yeah.
It won't kill it, but you can go back to that same leaf
And rescan it.
and see if what you
something
did
changed.
changed, because
Okay.
that's the problem.
Fair
is
enough.
that we don't know, because we have to destroy the plant to find out what the content is, and if we make a change in it, we can't go back and check the change.
The next thing I was wondering is you said to see if something was dead, Corey. So I'm just thinking, we talked about desiccating beans. And when we knew they were dead, with the then we knew 4 days later that we might come in and we'd be the perfect moisture content
Yeah.
to go through it. Could this tell us if, like we had the hot spell during Iowa State Fair?
Yeah.
You said your ears started dropping. Could
Yep.
you go test at some time and then maybe predictively down the road say, oh, hey, you have 15 days, you're going to be ready for harvest because you know that it's dead? Could you go out and scan half your field and say, well, these plants are all dead. I can tell you that normally or typically 15 days later we're going to be harvest. So this could give us
At
some
that
information.
point, why wouldn't you just take the sample of grain?
Grain.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yep. Not a bad question, but that's probably a more efficient way to take care of that.
Yep.
Now, the one thing we did find is group that you saw earlier, that we are looking at crop residue,
Okay.
and we can measure the nutrient content of the crop residue. We weren't anticipating that.
Yeah.
And so if you can use a product that helps make that process faster, so you can get from the plant to the soil, you can get your nutrients reclaimed for plant usage if you have an ability to check and see what that's going on there.
Got one more on this, and then we got to
Sure.
pivot to the next thing. But so, like I said, you should take the leaves. Is it a better quality sample because it's fresh? It's right there. It's not drying out or getting put into a bag and then shipped.
Well, right now we have to compare ourselves to multiple labs, and right now we're giving results that are 85 to 99% accuracy or within the ranges of a test lab.
Yep.
And so by taking it at the plant, we get leaf water content, which tells us the stress, and then we're getting all the nutrients that are in
Yep.
there. So that real-time capability is really good.
Now I got it. Now I got another one.
You got another one?
Yeah,
What's
well,
it?
Tanner's gonna be mad. I keep making this go longer. Where did this technology come from? I imagine it wasn't developed just for this. Was it being used somewhere else in medical or something beforehand?
No, we've did this from the ground up.
Really?
Yeah.
So you've developed the tech.
Yeah.
And you have a patent on that. And all
Yes,
that.
we do that. We found a sensor that we started working with that's really not even on the marketplace right now, that gives us the economical ability to measure all of the bands
Very cool.
in a real-time basis.
Corey, this is me just not knowing. We've interviewed people with nutrients, macronutrients they were talking about, like bugs in a jug, to help boost those.
Yep.
Would this tell us if your one of these biologics company is actually working?
It's above my pay grade.
I would assume on a repeated trial basis, you'd probably be able to tell if it was a beneficial.
Can you tell that, John?
Well, what we're finding out is that because we're measuring the bioavailability through the plant,
Okay.
that we are actually able to target a sampling area to see what the biologicals are in that area more effectively. Instead of doing a general grid sample, the plant is telling us whether the nutrients are bioavailable, and then because we have so many data points, we can actually map out where that area is. And my belief is that we'll see biologicals being more targeted to sample, find out what's there. It may be a disease, but then you can correct that more easily in the off season.
What a tool for companies that are selling that stuff, though.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
get side-by-sides and
Yeah.
plots and all that.
And we are seeing a comparison. We've had them used in side-by-side comparison, treated versus untreated, and we can measure the significant difference between applied and unapplied.
Yeah, good. Well, I got one question, and I'm not going to let them ask any more. How do we do the cost? Do I buy this? What's the structure look like?
Well, what we do with this is a scan as a service, and basically we provide the scanner on an annual basis. You scan as much as you want. It's unlimited scans, and then you get the scanner back on a new subscription. So you're not buying the technology, you're not buying the scanner, you're getting a digital tissue analysis that has the GPS references to it.
Okay.
So it's a subscription, kind of like the soil probe that we've
Yep.
looked at.
Can we ask how much?
The retail price is $15,000 annually.
Okay.
And then basically the benefit of not owning it is that if you guys have an update to it, you take it in every year and it gets
Right.
the updates and all that. You don't have to worry about service and maintenance and all that.
Who owns the data?
The one who owns owns the crop owns the data. We don't repackage the data and send it out. We just don't. It's just not in our DNA.
Well, I have one more question that has nothing to do with
Sure.
agriculture. Are you a secret TikTok star?
Not that I'm aware of.
Because these guys have 4 million followers, and I'm pretty sure that guy looks exactly like you, the McFarlands.
No.
He's just not going to tell
Put
you.
the
whole
dot McFarlands
The
on
dot
TikTok.
McFarlands.
That's who this is.
Yeah, if it's going to be a secret stardom, he's not going to tell you it's him. 'Cause then it's no longer a secret.
Is this Randy?
John, this has been a pleasure to have your information and tell us about Leaf Tech. Right here on your card it says www.leaftechag.com.
Correct.
Is that the best place to go if they want to buy, get more information?
Get us more information. We have some distributors out here that are doing locally, working with people because we want to make sure a high level of service goes with all the tech out there.
Great.
And that's our methodology to make sure it's working right and going through there.
Awesome.
cool.
Well, we thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.